Okay, so first question was, who am I? Little hint is I am not the guy that is pictured to the left of the screen. My name is Jessica Pinkerton, and I'm a Doctor of Pharmacy candidate from the class of 2024, graduating from Albany College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. So, why do I want to do a residency? I do want to do a residency because of the chance to grow as a leader and a pharmacist. It provides great mentorship in order to learn from those who have become established in the field, and it allows me to expand my experiences to determine my true calling. I do want to do the St. Peter's residency because of the experiences that I would get in the emergency room, in the um, infectious disease portion of the residency, and also because of the oncology elective that is offered. That is something that is such a growing field, and not every residency has that. Additionally, I am a fan of the area, and I have worked at Samaritan for 2 years now, which is within St. Peter's Health Partners and Trinity Health, which I have come to really appreciate as an organization. And being able to stay within that health system would be honestly one of my dreams. So, after spending 2 years at Samaritan, I have decided that the St. Peter's residency is one that I would like to do if given the opportunity. So, my strengths include intelligence, empathy, and perseverance. I am somebody who is extremely empathetic, which gives me the ability to connect with patients and communicate with them on a level that makes them feel seen and heard, which is a skill not everybody possesses. It is something that everybody has the potential to possess, but not everybody has it present and able to execute. Similarly, with perseverance, I believe everybody does have the potential to persevere in hard times. However, I am somebody who has worked 25 hours a week for most of the time while I have been in school. And if I wasn't working 25 hours a week at a pharmacy job, I was also working a second job, whether it was Chipotle or as an RA, or even when I was doing CVS, Chipotle, and RA. So I am somebody who has persevered in hard times, and that includes financial, that includes school, that includes time management. All of these things I have learned because I have had to. So I know that perseverance is present, and I can execute perseverance in terms of I can make it through anything that is thrown at me. I will figure it out if I need to. And that is something that I believe I have been able to do throughout my entire life. And it is one of my biggest strengths. Intelligence, everyone has the potential to know things, and everyone has the potential to find out new information. I skipped by this one initially because it is something that is not completely present. I will admit I have some gaps in knowledge, which I will talk about on the next slide. But I think that part of being intelligent is being aware of those gaps in knowledge. And I can find information. If I am asked a question, I can find the answer. It might not be the quickest or the most effective way to find the answer because I am still learning. But that is another reason that I want to do a residency, to be able to gain that confidence and ability to find answers quickly and be able to turn around and say, I am 100% confident that this treats this, or this is the answer to your question. So, opportunities for growth. I will say that my ability to quickly analyze information and respond to questions is lacking, as I just talked about. I do think that comes from my confidence levels. I'd say I have about 70% confidence in my answers, and I second guess myself way too much. This is another reason I want to do a residency. I want to build up my confidence, and I want to be able to look somebody in the eyes and know that I know what I'm talking about, even if they second guess me. And in terms of the knowledge, I'd say I have about 65% of the knowledge that I need. A good portion of that is knowing where I can find information. However, I am aware of the knowledge gaps that exist due to the remote learning that I experienced because of COVID, as did everybody who is applying to this residency, I am sure. I am aware that cardiology is one of my weak points because of the fact that I took that course completely online. It was completely open book, and that led to me not really retaining a lot of it. However, I have been working on that throughout this year, and I have been trying to improve my cardiology baseline knowledge. In terms of my goals, first short-term goal would be to get a residency because I do think that that is a great opportunity to assist me in reaching these goals. I would be able to reach these goals without a residency, I am aware, but I do believe that a residency is going to help me accelerate this path that I would like to pursue. And I do want to grow my leadership skills and my knowledge and grow as a pharmacist. I want to gain that confidence that I do believe comes with experience. And having mentorship throughout that is something that I value extremely. I do want to have that confident, quick thinking and decision-making skills. Ultimately, however, I do want to obtain some board certifications. I do want to become a board certified pharmaceutical scientist, board certified in pharmaceutical sciences. I apologize. And I do want to become board certified in a specialized area, whether that be emergency medicine, infectious disease, even oncology. At this point, I don't know. I do want to have a residency in which I can explore different things in order to determine what I want to practice in as a clinical pharmacist. Because eventually I do want to become a clinical pharmacist. And I do eventually want to teach others. I don't think there is a purpose in learning all of this information and becoming proficient outside of helping people. And that includes helping others help people down the line. Pharmacy involves having to learn from people who came before you. And that is something that I wish to be able to do. And I wish to be able to share my knowledge with others 5, 10 years down the line. Even sharing my knowledge as an RA these past years, as I've gone through school, has meant a lot to me. And that's how I figured out that I do want to be able to continue sharing things as I go and being looked at as a teacher at some point. Now, on to my favorite course. I do have to say, my favorite course in college was infectious disease. It is something that challenged me a lot, and it did make me reassess my study habits. This was the course that made me realize I needed to focus on patterns and understanding the material as opposed to just memorizing it. For other courses, I would go, this drug does this. This drug is this side effect. This drug can't be taken with this. And this is not a field that you can memorize everything in. Some things you do need to memorize and know off the top of a hat, but most things in this field I have learned you need to understand why they work. You need to understand why they cause this side effect, because that's the only way you are going to remember everything. And even if you don't remember everything, you do need to understand how to find it and how to figure it out. And this was my favorite course because of that. And also, it's an always changing, always growing field. And it was something that was really exciting because I knew that even by the end of my courses at ACP, I would need to review this material because most of it would have changed already by that time or grown. In terms of my favorite book, it is Mind Blind by Jennifer Roy. This is a book that describes the life of a 14-year-old boy who has Asperger's syndrome and is often misunderstood by the rest of the world. I really enjoyed this book, and I feel as though it was in part because she does have a son herself who has Asperger's syndrome. I feel as though this book really opened my eyes when I was in high school when I read it to the world and how other people may experience it. Asperger's syndrome is not something that is widely talked about or understood, and there are so many people who struggle from this, who struggle from autism, who struggle from depression, who you can look at the outside and see one thing when in their mind it can be a completely different experience that they are having. And that could be why they don't talk a lot or they come across as awkward. And this is one of the books that really spoke to me as somebody who is very empathetic and helped me further understand some of these people and have sort of a background as to why it happens and why they might be speaking or acting the way they are. For my greatest non-pharmacy related accomplishment, I would need to turn back to my first summer hiking. This was back in 2020 when I completed the Lake George 12 star. Over the course of just a few months, I went from only having done one hike in my entire life to besting even the longest hike in Lake George. This was the Tongue Mountain Range at 14.8 miles long. Now, this might not be impressive to people who have lived here their whole life. I've lived here my whole life. I know the Adirondack 48. And I know that that would be so much more impressive and so much more of an accomplishment to some people. But this was the moment that I realized I could do anything I set my mind to because I wasn't in the best shape of my life. I wasn't somebody who was always outdoors. I didn't have a lot of free time because I was working full time this summer, and I still managed to do this because I wanted to. And that is something that I will forever be proud of. In terms of things that bring me joy day to day, I do have to say that 65% of my daily joy is derived from music. 30% is probably derived from my caffeine and coffee intake. I do like to make fancy little espresso drinks. I have an Italian espresso maker. I have a coffee maker that makes iced and hot coffee, and I can also do I have a steam wand with that, and I can do specialty brews. So I make lattes, I make fun little drinks, and I like to have a cold foam on it and drizzle with some chocolate syrup to make it all nice and fancy, just like Starbucks. So that does bring quite a lot of joy in my morning routine to start my day off correctly. And I get 5% of my daily joy from reading, I would say. I try to listen to an audiobook while I drive or reading a book at night, and then throughout the week, I do try to sprinkle in hobbies to increase my joy and relieve some stress. Those can be video games, taking care of my plants, doing some exercise. I love dancing, hiking during the summer. I have a